Can y'all hear me? I feel like I've messed up. I unplugged the pluggy plug when I went to go get a bang. Let me switch speakers real quick. We breaking stuff out here. Where's my music? Oh, there it is. Chat. All right. That's It don't go down like that. All right, we're good. So I waited to go get a bang, and I guess my chair unplugged the headset, which apparently is the glue to hold all of this production together. Sorry about that. So now y'all just had to listen to silence? Wow. I'm sorry. Oh, what is this? That's not what I ordered. All right. How we doing, chat? Happy Friday. Trade deadline come and gone. And now we got a lot of new look teams, a lot of new look opportunities, and a lot of bad pricing for a lot of these new look opportunities. So we're going to go game by game as we always do and get things going. What's up to the live chat? Shout out to you guys already here vibing out. Mic is good, right? Sometimes it goes to the wrong mic, but I think we're good. It is a bang type. So this is blue raz. I don't mind blue raz, but when you're not expecting it, it's, you know, I ordered 8 of the black cherry vanillas. They brought me 0. They brought me 4 blue razes, and we were just talking about this the other day. 4 rainbow unicorn no. So and on top of that, somebody told me, Gun, you should try this bubbly crap. It was like, it's good. It tastes just like regular soda. It does not. It does not. It tastes like foam water. So now I have 7 cans of this crap. So I hit up my sister. She's into that healthy kick. I was like, yo, if you're into this, free 7 cans waiting on you. So welcome back to Gun Can't Exist as an adult. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these 4 rainbow unicorns. I'm probably just gonna have to suck it up. But I don't really like that Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity stuff. What up, Vic? What up, Jake? What up, Robert? Corey? Smoothie? Buck? Darius? Oh man, holy cow. We got so much in chat right now. What up, Peter? The problem is I want as few people as possible to have access to this information. Thank you. Cautious, man, you guys are the best. Shout out to you guys for being here. Dang Lazy, Mofo, Chris, Ducking. I can't even see all the names. It means a lot that you guys are already here. Unicorn Urine, yeah. Blue Raz is all right. Black Cherry Vanilla is where it's at for me. And then I've been messing with that Star Blast lately. But all that's good. I'm not going to hate on it. Bang is a bang, sir. But we got to do some work. So we got a lot to break down. So let me make sure all the screens are where they need to be. And as we do that, as we do that, we do want to announce a partnership that launched today with No House Advantage. So you guys have probably seen me talk about No House Advantage before. We're back. We're in it. So if you sign up today on No House Advantage, you use promo code GUNDACKERS right here in the sign up sheet. They're going to double that first deposit up to $100. There's going to be a pretty cool Super Bowl thing, I think, with Patrick Mahomes for tomorrow. So kind of like PrizePicks, kind of like some of these other sites where we attack props and whatnot. You can get on there, and just like our other partnerships, every time you guys sign up using my code, they show me some love. So if you want a lot of love, a 3-way circle of love, go sign up for No House. And when we talk about player props today, we're gonna reference PrizePicks, the market, No House, and we might also look at Thrive. Remember Thrive? We launched. The funny thing with Thrive, if you guys were here yesterday, the promo to get you guys, tacoed over there was LeBron James half a point, and then he gets rolled out. Well, then we had one for today, which was Kawhi Leonard half a point, and then he gets rolled out. So it didn't go as planned for that, but we still had the Thrive partnership, so we are quote unquote thriving. Lots of partnerships. There's very few sites right now that we play on that you can't sign up with code Gundagger and get a little extra in return. So if you're in the free Discord, we'll have links to that as well. Shout out to you guys for trying these new sites. And just like the sports betting market, I mean, No House is spotting you up to $100. So is Thrive, so is PrizePicks, so is Underdog. Anytime you use code Gundagger, they're doubling that first deposit. Take advantage of the promos at every spot, and get that free money to boost that bankroll. So let's just dive right into it. Let's go get some Underdog news, and then we'll dive right into it, because today is certainly more likely to be a news intense day than any other day. Three-way circle of love. You got the loading screen, Vic? Is that just Vic, or is that everybody? Or is Twitter down? Again, see, this blue res tastes different than I remember it. Emotional damage for Pippen, yep. All right, Justin Holiday, Frank Kaminsky listed available for the Rockets. George Hill, Jordan Nwora won't make Pacers season debut. Today, Indiana, George Hill. Rudy Gobert, Kyle Anderson remain questionable. Mike Conley, NAW, available to make Timberwolves debut. That's good. Middleton listed out. Luka Doncic listed out. Giannis, probable. TJ Warren, Darius Bazley won't make Suns debut Friday. Spurs make, okay, this Spurs list is incredible. Blake Wesley, Malachi Branham, Keita Bates-Diop, Isaiah Roby, Zach Collins, the homie, Devontae Graham, Doug McDermott, Stanley Johnson, Dominic Barlow. That is an NBA team. And then what's more incredible is when I was just doing the spreadsheet, I had the Pistons at like only a 5-point favorite, which is like, wow, how are the Pistons not, you know what I mean? That's crazy. All right. So I think that's it. I think we're good on all the news. So we're going to keep that up. And we know today could get crazy with the news. So let's start with the spreadsheet on the left. Let's make sure we have the news. Roto World. Here we go. And we'll be all right. Let me scroll down on this chat. What up, Brooklyn? Hope you're doing all right. What up, Miguel? 8 game. Peach Mango Bang? I don't think I've tried that one. Like, I'm willing to try different bangs. The unicorn thing was not for me. We had gotten 2 last year. I tried one. I didn't even finish it. And the other one sat in the fridge for half a year. So, I'm not looking forward to that. And I just hate that there's 4 of them. I don't want to waste it, you know? Okay, we'll get that up. And then we got our game flows and usage charts, and let's get to work, boys. Hit that thumbs up. I'm going to get to work. You guys get to work too. Spurs at the Pistons. Project starting 5 for the Spurs. Here's just 5 names. Devontae Graham, Malachi Branham, Dougie McBuckets, Keita Bates-Diop, Zach Collins. You guys know as well as I do, it could be anything involving these names that we just listed off as the actives. On the Pistons side, here's what they ran out last game. Killian Hayes, Jay Nivey, Bojan Bogdanovic, Isaiah Stewart, and Jalen Duren. James Wiseman was traded to the Pistons. We saw that he would start. And then this is a team that's been trying different things. I guess you could say we saw Killian Hayes start alongside Ivy that last game versus it was Ivy and Alec Burks a couple games prior. So assuming that they roll back to this, you know what happens when we assume. That's what we're working with. Let's see what's Wiseman's doubtful for this one. All right, so we run that back. I had Pistons as -5.5 here. When the Spurs lineup does get released, that will probably help clarify and clear up some minute projections for me. Like guys like Gorgie Zhang, I'm not comfortable putting big minutes on. Stanley Johnson, I'm on the fence with. I know he's been in the mix for them, but I do have interest in the guards here, and probably Devontae Graham Maybe it's a little biased. I really want to get into a big score with him just to say I did it in the year 2023. And then remember, no Jakob Poeltl on the Spurs here. So Zach Collins unleashed, and we know per minute he's been an absolute monster should he stay out of foul trouble. And against Duran and Isaiah Stewart, I guess it's a coin flip, but should he be out there for 25 to 30 minutes, you should expect over a fantasy point per minute. Really, 24 minutes against the Clippers, against Brooklyn, 26-17. We've seen 40 bombs against Boston, and the Pistons has been one of the most porous defenses in the paint, 55.4 points per game allowed in the paint. So really solid matchup for opposing bigs. And I think both these teams might feature the two worst paint defenses, although a lot of the season-long metrics for the Spurs, just whatever. Let's see, points in the paint allowed. I'm looking at points in the paint scored. I did not know the Spurs were the second in scoring points in the paint, but I imagine a lot of that is Jakob Poeltl. Yeah, Spurs and the Pistons, the top two teams in allowing points in the paint. So should be a really fruitful game for opposing centers on each side. I think Collins makes too much sense here. So this is one of our several opportunities at plucking value from severely mispriced players in good spots. So I think from this far out, I'd be interested in Devontae, Collins, Bates Diop, Malachi Brannon, all these guys that I know per minute can thrive and could be afforded a lot more minutes tonight than maybe they will be the next slate with this laundry list of names that could come back, including usage guy like Keldon Johnson, and then Trey Jones and them have been on the shelf. So that's where I'm at there. The Pistons, I'm kind of on the fence with. I do think their rotation is still a little bit more diluted. Killian Hayes under 5K on DraftKings has a path to 30-plus fantasy points. Same with Jaden Ivey. I think I would wait for the starting lineup to come out. I got kind of smacked with the Ivy assist prop because, not want to say because of the Killian Hayes, but it was also doubled down with an injury. So I might stay away from props altogether in this game, unless you guys had a crazy lean on one thing. And just out of curiosity, do we even have a lot to choose from? San Antonio, Spurs, no. Detroit got some. Maybe Isaiah Stewart's at 28.5 fantasy. Jalen Duren, 30.5. I mean, that's probably, I got my 34, 33. Maybe there's a little fire with Wiseman in the shadows, but yeah, nothing here that I need to make a priority for prop betting, but a lot here I want to cherry pick for DFS. What's up, Ryan? There's a cap on Collins' minutes, though. What is the cap? Do we know? Stochastic has him at 24. I would trust them. If that's the case, then I should come down. I have him at 30, but if it's a stringent cap, it's a Popovich cap. He might just be capped because he can't stay out of foul trouble. You can trash Eric all you want, but no Josh slander self-prosper. That means he will play 30 minutes trying to keep people away. Oh, I mean, I would trust. I don't think Josh or Eric would just make stuff up. Also, they're both the homies, so no slandering any of them. You know? Oh, why did I click? No, Collins. I don't. Is there like coach peak behind that? I don't doubt it, but I would like to attach that to some type of quote. But all right. Detroit wants ping pong balls, not wins. Yeah, that's fair. So does San Antonio. But in spots like that, sometimes players don't play to lose, right? That's the management's job. And these guys, especially a guy like Durant or Isaiah Stewart, that might just have to watch James Wiseman walk in the room and take their spot. You know, they might be playing for not pop cap, so to speak. How many has he maxed out this season? The most minutes that Collins has played in a game. Let's see. We've seen a couple 30s. But that was like, he's also one of the highest fouls per minute guys. So like, here's 34 minutes. He didn't get in. foul trouble against the Celtics. So 34 minutes on January 7th. And then 28 minutes against Cleveland, fouls out. 30 minutes against Miami, fouls out. 5 fouls. Like, he's a big foul guy. 6 fouls out in 22 minutes against the Pelicans. So he could just be capped because he can't stay on the court long enough. But I didn't see anything attached to a specific minute restrictions, especially considering how short they are. But I'm willing to be wrong on that if there's something out there to say as such. But against Duran and Isaiah Stewart, these guys, they might drop 20-plus real points in the bucket. If he's got to defend that, he's very foul prone. So maybe keep that in mind. But at 4K, there's a great opportunity. There's great opportunity on a lot of underpriced guys today, though. What up, CT? Beef Stew going to be playing for that double-double. I'm with that. All right, relax with the conspiracies. What? Phoenix Suns at the Indiana Pacers. Suns night 2 of back-to-back. Projected starting 5 for the Suns. Chris Paul, Devin Booker. I'm back. Torrey Craig, Jock Landale, DeAndre Ayton up against Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Buddy Hield, Aaron Naismith, and Miles Turner. Trey, appreciate the sub. Treyway. Yeah, Devin Booker back in the mix here. The double, the Twin Tower front court, we talked about that yesterday as a possibility. I didn't actually think they'd do it, but, they were very short staffed. So we'll see if they go back to the Landale Ayton Twin Towers here against a smaller front court on the Pacer side. Suppose they could stretch out Okogie now that you got Booker in the mix. So it's not a guarantee that Landale would start in this split. But 230.5 total. Somehow the Pacers favored by 2.5. I think you're catching the Suns on a fatigue spot, but getting Devin Booker is pretty important here. So we're going to use the on-off court tool. Devin Booker does usurp DeAndre Ayton in terms of usage when he's in the mix. So we put a specific number on that, and then we do give him the benefit of the doubt of having the freshest legs on the court in this mix here. So in a super positive spot, or super positive matchup, I am interested. For this split, I'm going to leave Bridges on because Bridges represents so many minutes that I don't want to over dilute the minute sample size. But as an example, Devin Booker has a 31.5% usage rate when he's on the court with Ayton and Chris Paul. So he does lead the team in that category, while Chris Paul has a 32% assist rate, and Booker does have a 21% assist rate. How dramatic does the Chris Paul assist rate drop with Booker on versus off? So Booker's at 20% assist rate. It's enough to impede Paul a little bit. Was Paul a 40% guy with Booker off? 39, close enough. So maybe there's some. In any other matchup, I might be interested in a Paul under like a 10.5 assist prop, but that may not be the issue here. The Spurs' plan is probably to play Collins more than 24, but they get blown out. Blown out, yes, or he just fouls out. Like he's that foul prone. Will StatMuse give us, let's see, most fouls per 36 this season? Will they give us a list of guys that lead the league in Jaden McDaniels? Zach Collins can't be that far on this list, right? Zach Collins. Maybe he's not. Maybe he doesn't have qualifying. Oh, he does. Here he is. No, that's John Collins. Maybe he doesn't have qualifying minutes. So, okay. So Jaden McDaniels at 5.31 leads the league in fouls per 36, and then above average is 4.5. So Zach Collins fouls per 36 this season would be 3.81. Why does it feel like he's way more foul prone than that? Maybe just, I don't know. Maybe he's a part of a lot of cleanup crew too. We trades got to stick together. Let's go. Ayton props look like they still based on no Booker on PrizePicks. Okay, let's go look at that. Phoenix. So Paul's assist is at 9.5. Ayton is at 22.5 points and assist. 38.5 fantasy. What about points? 21.5 points. 21.5 points against Indiana is very doable, but it is a potential fatigue spot, right? Third game in 4 nights, a back-to-back, and now you get Booker back. Yeah, what's the market at on 18 points? And then is Devin Booker, I know in that first game back we didn't quite know what to expect minute-wise. And he offered just 26 minutes. So, missing a game after coming back, he's probably not unleashed either. So maybe 30 might be an aggressively conservative projection. So maybe I don't want to make a stand here. But I will say the market is at 20.5 in some spots. Other spots is at 21. So if market's all over the place, but there's some spots where 21's getting pushed down. So I guess if you think that Ayton is too expensive here, and PrizePicks follows the market, 21 and you're on the under, the 21.5 number is probably as high as it's gonna get. It's probably gonna head to 20.5 if there's any movement on Ayton here. So if you think he's too expensive here point wise, take the under while you can, because that does look like that line will move down one. Zaytoven, thank you for the sub. Between the Charlotte San Antonio spot, seems like you almost have to spend down at center. Yeah, there's a lot of value at center. I think the Charlotte center is going to look a little bit more appealing, maybe a little bit more chalky, but a lot of value tonight. This is going to be one of those play who you want 400-point nights from this far out. Let's see if they run back this double twin towers front court. Like I guess Landale at bare bones mid on DraftKings is playable against a Pacers team that has a really porous defense and will push the pace a little bit, so I don't mind that. And then Torrey Craig let a lot of us down yesterday. I think he was the guy that wasn't in the starting lineup, right? They went Lee, or was he? He played 35 minutes anyway. Let's go look at the rotation. I feel like he wasn't in the starting lineup. Maybe it was a Koji that wasn't in the starting lineup, and I stuck with him. Yeah, that's what it was. A Koji played 32, still closed out. Landale had a break-in fourth quarter appearance, only played 19 minutes. So yeah, that's what it was. So we might expect Craig to still play and still soak up a ton of minutes. And then, like I said, I think there's some versatility or some flexibility to be had with their starting lineup today. I do think it's possible that they push Landale back out and then could put a Koji and Craig in the lineup to go smaller against a smaller Pacers team to feature Paul and Booker, right? It's just spitballing. So don't get too attached to Landale. Although his minutes last night, with that as short as they were, enough to not get too attached. On the Pacer side, what can we get on Halliburton assists? Because this man is different. Can we get single digits? We can. 9.5. I mean, that's such a low number for a tight game for Halliburton. Halliburton's like 20 potential assists per game. 10, 11, 9. If we're going to keep this game close, then Halliburton can push 35 to 38 minutes. I think that's way too low. Way too low. So I might be interested in some overs here. Let's see. Halliburton this season. Let's put him on the court for the Pacers. I want to say he's got like a 40% assist rate, just straight up. And then looking at... yeah. Let's go back. Yeah, a 46% assist rate. So I think anytime we can get single-digit assist prop at a 40+% number, I think I'm very interested. And if this was like a normal Suns game where the Suns are like -6, -8, something like that, I get it. But this one gives us a chance for competitive basketball down the stretch. Looks like there's steam in some spots on the under, but it's pretty split. I guess BetMGM is really big on the under. But this is one of those spots where I just kind of disagree. I just think that his style of play is so facilitatory that I don't know. I lean the over. I'm going to disagree with some of those lines there. So I'm going to make a list. We'll make that as a leanier lean, right? Looser lean, just because we're going to respect the market. But sometimes I got to go with the gut. Over 9.5 assists. Because I just can't see 37 minutes of Haliburton not producing heavily inflated assist line. The other day, Trae Young was at a similar spot where his line was 9.5, and it was juiced on the under at 150, and he put up like 14 assists, and research paid off. So maybe I guess we'll never get plus money on that. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe in some spots you can alt and ladder it up. But for DFS, I have some interest in Haliburton on FanDuel. Very, very loose. I do think price is going to be more irrelevant today because of how much value this slate's going to create. This does become a raw point slate really, really quick. So the top dogs, like if you roster a Haliburton, it's not even a points per dollar thing at that point. It's hey, is he going to be a top 5 scorer on the slate? And I got to go down quite a bit to get to him in the projections. So he's outside the top 10. So I can see in DFS him just kind of slipping through the cracks. But he is somebody I do want to get some exposure to in prop betting tonight. So that's probably how we play that. Sometimes studs and scrubs just play the hand for you. I'm going to stay away from Devin Booker. I did have Devin Booker unders. And this might be a good chance to go look at No House, our new partner. So if you guys aren't familiar with No House, they have the live prop stuff like PrizePicks does, but they also have a pick'em contest, which is kind of like constructing a parlay and assigning confidence points. And their lines are static here. So a guy like Devin Booker just might be super, super overpriced, right? He has got a 40.5 PRA. So real quick, we don't even need to know that 40.5 is on the high end for a guy that may not play 30 minutes anyway. But looking at the market for Devin Booker, so we'll compare the static line versus the live line. Devin Booker's market line is 31.5 PRA, some spots 32. So you're getting a massive, massive opportunity to grab an under on Devin Booker here at 40.5. So that's what I would probably lock in, 40.5 under as one of the higher confidence points. So you guys want to do that too. Remember, you can do that and get a bonus deposit today. Sign up using code GUNDACKER and you can see your first $20 deposit become $40. You can get up to $100 becoming $200, and get in there, because not only is that like a good opportunity to take an under, but there's a ton of overlay. I'm sure you guys have heard this over and over, but this contest that I've been playing, this dunk, it rarely gets to 50%. It's usually 25 to 40%. So there's a lot of built-in overlay to make these contests even more profitable. So yeah, go check that out. We'll keep looking back and forth at big opportunities for static lines to fail, but I think Devin Booker's PRA is incredibly juiced in that spot. And I don't think, I definitely won't play him tonight in DFS, assuming he's still on this pretty stringent minutes restriction, right? What else we got here? If you think Bassey would be low owned, seems like a solid leverage play. Not much difference between him and Richards. They play similar minutes. Okay. Ooh. What's up, Crispy? Hope you're doing all right. We on Şengün assist tonight? Probably. We'll get there. All right, let's move on. Sixers hosting the Knicks. Project starting 5 for the Knicks: Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Jericho Sims, taking on James Harden, DeAnthony Melton, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. 223 total, and a 6.5 point spread in favor of the 76ers. So good spot to maybe get some attachment to Joel Embiid in an easier than usual path to pay that $11.5K for him. And then also, Embiid's one of those types that ends up pretty low owned anyway. Maybe it's because of that lingering Q tag and we wait for the news. Today, it does feel like everyone's going straight for the value centers, and that's not the proper approach. But if you build backwards today, there's still plenty of value guards. It's just value centers are safer because they have less volatility, as a lot of these value guards will likely need to be scoring dependent. Because of that, I think there could be some merit in getting to a guy like Embiid who has legitimate 80, 90 fantasy point potential, and build a little bit backwards, build a little bit contrarian, and not feel like you're giving up a raw point potential. So maybe Embiid, somebody we get to. I think this matchup is a tougher one on paper. The points in the paint allowed by the Knicks, tough, but Embiid's just kind of like a really, really matchup-proof kind of guy. So I have him at 58 fantasy points on FanDuel, 55 on DK. If we look at the slate, Embiid is third in projected raw points. We're gonna have Tatum with no Brown, and Giannis is Giannis. But he's in the conversation real quick on who scores the most fantasy points on this slate. So I do like the thought of Joel Embiid as a way to get contrarian but not get stupid, you know. On the Knicks side, Jalen Brunson. Did you guys see that video? He was getting his number retired in, is it Villanova maybe? And while he was there, the news that Josh Hart got traded, his old teammate got traded to him, he was pretty excited. So good for them for being together. Let me see what Embiid's ownership was close to. Yeah, single digits, usually single digits. So yeah, I kind of like that. Also, while we're here, we've been noticing a trend for the Knicks before the last game that Isaiah Hartenstein was closing out the games for the Knicks, and that created an in-game opportunity for like live betting on some of these prop sites. If we look, let's start with the Lakers game. I believe he did close that one out, but it's glitched. And then in the Heat game, Hartenstein closed out over Jericho Sims. Jericho Sims, by the way, going to be in the dunk contest. The Clippers game, Hartenstein closed out over Sims. The Sixers game, repeat this matchup, Hartenstein closed out over Jericho Sims until he fouls out. And then the Orlando Magic game, Hartenstein did not close out. Sims 34 minutes strong. So maybe it's a matchup thing where if you need more boost, more points, or just change of pace, Hartenstein goes out there. But that was the first game, like the last five, where Hartenstein did not close out over Jericho Sims. So something to keep an eye on. Because of that, at 4,600 on DraftKings, Hartenstein has been somebody I put in the tertiary pool of random value plays. We don't have to probably get that risky on slates like this, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind going forward, or even something to take advantage on some of these sites if they offer some in-game props or some second half props on either of these two. These are two guys that don't often pop up on the PrizePicks in-game stuff, but just something to keep in mind. Bronson at 8K on FanDuel, 8,600 on DraftKings, just in a vacuum, points per dollar, makes a lot of sense. Has been really, really, really good for them, but certainly understand if you think the incredible value to go get the Damian Lillards of the slate, the Ja Morants, guys like that, passes up a guy like Brunson. I wouldn't push back, but I do think Brunson has a shot at 50 plus fantasy points, and usually that dog will hunt. So he'll be in my player pool. I'll probably put him as a top end tier 3. And I don't really want to run to get too much of 10K Randall, 9K on FanDuel I can get involved with, but I think generally speaking, with as big as this slate is, this one should profile as more of a grindier defense, slow-paced game where there's not as much value and not as much opportunities to replace guys. So this is probably one of the most, I'll say, highest predictive value games, is, if that makes sense, where nothing really changed from 2 days ago to today for what these two teams should offer, and that means they're two of the slowest paced teams. If we go look at pace rating, let's see, Knicks 4th in pace, the Sixers 6th. Yeah, not something you want to tack on such a massive slate. And then defensively, Sixers are top 6, and the Knicks are a little bit more league average, but just a lot of net negatives in that category. So I would just attach myself to the useless monsters with incredible ceilings, and that's namely Joel Embiid, right? Let's get caught up on chat. What up, Jimmy? Hope you're doing all right. Here, what up, Tall? Love you, D. Hey, yo. Did I miss anybody? What up, Wesley? By the way, Ghost 407, thank you for the sub. I don't know how I didn't acknowledge that, but thank you. And if you guys are out there lurking, you haven't hit that sub button, hey man, hit that sub button. If you have your noties public or your follows public, you'll get a fancy little thingy. We're at 8,350 subs. So 50 subs away from 8,400. We're thumbing, bro. We might get 9K by the end of the month. Maybe. The All-Star break might throw a monkey wrench in our plans here, but maybe. Next game on the docket, Hornets at the Celtics. Project starting 5 for the Hornets, LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, and Mark Williams. 3,200. Mark Williams taking on Derek White, Sam Hauser, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams. We got 226 total and 11-point spread in favor of the Boston Celtics. And life without Mason Plumlee begins today for the Charlotte Hornets, and a relatively short rotation. So even in the face of a double-digit spread, we might still be relying on some big minute projections for these Hornets players. So we'll start with the obvious click here is Mark Williams. Mark Williams is in pre-flop a tough spot, right? Just metrically, Boston. Let's see, Boston. I guess we'll go points in the paint. Is Mark Williams one of those like traditionals? Let's see. Yeah, has not taken a 3. Jason Davis, thank you for the sub. I hope you're having a good day. So a traditional big. So we go back to the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. We look at points in the paint allowed. The Boston Celtics are top 6 in defensive rating in the paint, while also being one of the better total defenses. Top 4. So, in those points in the paint, it's okay to be wrong, to disagree, but think of how many games Robert Williams did not play. Robert Williams offers a defensive rating of 104.1. That would be best on the team with any type of minute sample size going back, really to last year. So there's a chance that they're in even better paint defense with Robert Williams on the court versus, already being top 5 on the season. So it's a tough spot for Mark Williams, but we say all that to say this. Sometimes opportunity is just too good. 3,200, really, really cheap for the opportunity of Mark Williams to show up and show out and finally get some run, because per minute he's absolutely been a monster, a block machine, and now with an opportunity at 30 minutes, we might get, just a freest double-double in the history of DraftKings at this price point. So while I want to be contrarian here and think about how bad the matchup possibly is, I do think the price is too low, and there's very, I want to say few ways, but it doesn't seem like, what's the worst Mark Williams would have to do to not be optimal? I guess just the fact that he clogs up the center spot. He would have to really get lapped by these other centers. So I guess if he dropped 25 and Şengün's in a tough spot. I don't know. Embiid could drop 70 to make him optimal as a center, and then another center. I don't know. What does Mark Williams have to do for you not to play him tonight? I guess 20 or less would be my answer. And does he score 20 or less? I just can't see that happening. I'm getting 30 fantasy points on a modest 29-minute projection. It's a really bad matchup. but minutes equal money, and he finally gets minutes. On FanDuel, I could see the fade a little bit more, but man, almost free 99 plus tax on DraftKings is just quite the opportunity for this guy. And I think Mark Williams in the coming weeks is going to push 5, 6K, 7K. Should this be his true opportunity of being, the 28-minute to 32-minute center, he's going to be a pretty trendy play. So we're going to want to play him while he's free, I think. I don't know. There's so many DraftKings Super Bowl freebies, you barely need to enter a paid content. Yeah, there's a lot of great Super Bowl stuff. The Super Bowl betting market is insane of how much you could bet on one game and all the different things you can bet on, man. It is degeneracy at its finest. What's up, Ryan? Hope you're doing all right. How many more centers do my Pistons need, man? They love centers. Yeah, Mason Plumlee got traded to Los Angeles. I'm in on Mark. Yeah, in the ownership projection I looked at earlier, I think Mark has a lot of room to come up from the number that he is at. If he closed at like 40+% owned, I would not be shocked at all. Because we've seen Mark Williams be chalk as a backup, right? Like literally as a backup. So maybe there's some sticker shock at the matchup, but man, at 3,200, that's just way too cheap. All right, what about some of these other more obvious plays? I didn't want to bury the ceiling guys. LaMelo Ball, we mentioned how short this rotation can get. Reggie Jackson probably going to get bought out, right? Even in a 15, 20-point game, you might just have to have your LaMelo Balls and Terry Rozier's out there. I expect Gordon Hayward to be one of the quicker hook guys, and LaMelo has more miles to drive. And if that's the case, that's a lot of opportunity at his, a lot of minute opportunities, not necessarily at his price. So I don't mind like putting guys like him and Halliburton as like sub, 6%ers in my tier 3s. And then maybe in like 20 maxes, make a couple stronger stances. My main pushback is this, I just don't think this is a great matchup. But yeah, on the Celtics side, Jason Tatum. So Tatum has a realistic chance in this matchup to be the top dog on the slate. There's Embiid, there's Giannis, and I think probability would lean, towards one of them, or at least to maybe Giannis. Should he be full go? But it's not impossible. Like I think it's above 20% out of those three that Tatum leads those three in fantasy points, maybe even higher. In the raw projection, we had him at number 2 to Giannis. And it looks like Giannis is going to play tonight. I thought last night maybe we could get a Giannis rest night today. But with that said, is Tatum the guy? And think about the value tonight. A lot of value at guard, a lot of value at center. Just kind of frees up the forward spot. FanDuel, that's Giannis too. But it seems like Jason Tatum has a real path to being one of the higher owned guys. And we saw this last night with Jokic, Giannis, and Anthony Davis. All the value just created inflated ownership on guys that are either not to that high owned normally or not that high owned together. Like I've never seen those 40+% on the same slate, much less a 4-game slate. Is Tatum the guy that by default gets invested in? Last look at ownership projections, he's up there. He's not number 1, but he's up there. Could be 1 or 4 lineups when it's all said and done. So looking at the on-off court tool, let's go pull up Boston. His per minute stuff without Jaylen Brown is just incredible. But unlike the Hornets, the Celtics are not as forced to keep Tatum out there if the game gets lopsided, right? So if this version of the Celtics still blows them out, we may lose some minute equity in Jason Tatum. Pistons should get Westbrook anyway. He's a natural Piston. Okay. I hope Russell Westbrook lands on a contender and wins the championship. I don't know. I want him to win a ring, but I also feel like Chris Paul's window is closing. I would like to see Chris Paul win one. I think tonight or this year is a good spot for that. Tatum at a 35% usage rate, 1.4 fantasy point per minute on DraftKings, 1.34 on FanDuel. That's what you want. So even at like a 32-minute projection, that would go crazy, but I got him at 38, and that could really, push 60, 70. Looking at, let's go pull up StatMuse. Jason Tatum, DKP by game log without Jaylen Brown. Let's go last 10 games. 50 hours to the Super Bowl. I'm gonna have to start caring. So 56 or more fantasy points in the last 4 games without Jaylen Brown, including a 71 fantasy point game against Charlotte last month. So, back-to-back massive games. So I think it's hard not to at least tier 2 Tatum with the potential of putting him at the top of a priority list in like 20 lineups, Why not Westbrook for Phoenix? Because they have Chris Paul. Can never get Tatum right. I need 30 points. He goes for 30 assists. Oh, yeah, that's why we go after the fantasy. How about Zach Collins versus Williams? What's ownership on the two looking like? I don't know that Collins was like double, but I don't know that holds up. We'll see. As Jake would say, porque no los dos. You'll probably see a lot of double Collins, Mark Williams lineups and just spraying money at everything else, Let's see, Collins, Williams. There's a lot of Williams. This one gives you 7K per. And then just like a random value guard like Devontae Graham gives you 8K per. You get to one more random guy. I don't know, Nkoji, 9K per. So it's going to be real easy, much like last night, to get your double, triple studs. Opportunities you don't normally get on DraftKings. I'll see Stanley Johnson up there. Stanley Johnson's chalk that I'll like. I can't. I can't go to heaven. And when Jesus, God's like, yo, what was this night about where you had 100% Stanley Johnson? I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't. He's like, no, you're gone. And he hits the ejector seat, and I'm done. I can't do Stanley Johnson chalk. I just can't. 6-man Brody. Yeah, 6-man. I've seen Westbrook's name attached to the Clippers and the Heat. So that'd be fun. The Bulls should get Westbrook. Yeah, Bulls are rough. But it doesn't seem like they're motivated to make moves. But I hope he lands on his feet somewhere. I like Westbrook. He's my favorite player, but I understand his advanced metrical inequities for real life basketball right now. Past Jason Tatum. So Sam Hauser was making a splash as a spot starter in place of Jaylen Brown. Last 2 outings, really, 25, 28 fantasy points. So if you wanted to get back to him, I wouldn't really have some pushback there. And then Robert Williams on a normal slate. I mentioned this in his last start where he was like 5,600. I think Robert Williams, when they said he was not going to be limited, he could be a 7K player, especially on FanDuel really soon, without a limit. And that's something that I don't want to lose sight of, though I understand the way that this slate is setting things up. But 43 fantasy points against Detroit, another really plus matchup. I don't expect Charlotte to go too far forward in the front court defense department. They're already the most porous team to attack when it comes to fantasy points to opposing centers. Mark Williams has a defensive rating of 107.5, but that's also potentially inflated because he's going against backup scrubs to the backup scrubs. We'll probably expect that to normalize in, like, at best, the 112 department, but we'll see. Really good spot, but maybe not today just because of what else is on the board. Like I said, raw points are the priority, but hopefully Robert Williams stays cheap enough going forward when slate pricing is more efficient to take advantage of this spot, because I do think an unrestricted Robert Williams has potential to go up. It also feels like a good game to attack for maybe some PrizePicks props. So let's go to Boston. What can we get on Jason Tatum? And do we think Jason Tatum first half props is the way to go for like fantasy? 53 fantasy points. I have him at 59. So maybe the first half, if we're feeling trepidatious on the fourth quarter minutes, sure. And then Robert Williams, what can we get on you, good sir? Robert. I don't know why I didn't just scroll down. He's at 33.5 fantasy points, so that's probably appropriate. I still have him on the over, but because of the spread, I'm maybe not going to force the issue here. Yep. Wanted Gordon, didn't do it. The revenge, bro. The revenge. Pat Bev getting bought out, yeah. Got a couple of pieces to get caught up on. Orlando Magic and guard Patrick Beverley are working through a contract buyout that clears the way for Beverley to choose among interested suitors. I was watching some Live Before Lock yesterday. Our boy Greg and Eric, I think they mentioned that they both could see Patrick Beverley back on the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that kind of makes sense, right? Like losing D-Russ, getting Mike Conley, like I could see that if he took a deal because they seem to be beloved by the people. JTA, Damian Jones won't make Jazz debut on Friday. All right, good to know. Good to know. Utah Jazz, topical. At the Toronto Raptors, project starting 5 for the Jazz: Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Markkinen, Kelly Olynyk, Walker Kessler, Ranger, taking on Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and Jakob Poeltl. Am I not Poeltl enough for the Poeltl Club? I'm coming home. I'm assuming that's the case. Have you guys seen reports agreeing with that? Because, I mean, they could still start Achua for another game or whatever. But it seemed like Poeltl was their guy. This is from today. Raptors are still waiting for league approval, but the expectation is that Poeltl will play Friday against the Jazz. So we'll see if he starts. Seems like he's their guy to start, so I'm with it. I went with Porter over Gordon. I actually went with so the way I attacked the Nuggets for props was I went Jokic assists over and then Gordon and MPJ both real points over, and all that was looking good, and then it wasn't. But Aaron Gordon did his thing, right? What up, Aldo? You're welcome for the Aaron Gordon pick yesterday. Kyle Lowry. Thoughts on Kessler fantasy score and VanVleet points assists? I want to stack it. Let's see, I got him at 29 fantasy points on FanDuel, 27 on DraftKings. Kessler's fantasy relevant because of his crazy block rate. And I guess the Raptors take enough points in in the mid-range that you can get onto those blocks, but I don't really have a reason or an expectation to be especially on Walker Kessler here. And then Fred VanVleet has been on a tear, but maybe I don't know. Let's look at this Utah minute rotation from last game. Kind of similar in what's available. Kessler offered 26 minutes. Versus what's on the board for Walker Kessler, I just don't see how I would get there with confidence. Because today, more than any other day, like I've been saying, is a kind of a win the position or win the points per dollar day. Like there's a normal price slate where Walker Kessler drops 30 at this price point, and it's more useful than what it likely is today, right? If Kessler at 5,700 really just matches what we get out of a Mark Williams or Zach Collins or even something like that, that's not really going to be that useful. And then if a guy like Embiid or some of the top end centers lap him 2 or 3 times, 2.5 times, it's hard to love it. So I'm not really on Kessler, but that's just me. If you got that feeling in your bad knee with the storm coming in, you play Walker Kessler. Gosh dang it. Kevin Williams, thank you so much for the sub. I hope you're having a great day. As far as Fred VanVleet goes, nothing should change for the Raptors here. Should be tons of minutes for the normal guys. And Kessler's front court defensive prowess might make more long range shots be the norm here, but I'm really not expecting this game to be that competitive where I gotta think it that hard, right? 7.5 point spread. I'm probably more likely to play VanVleet than a Kessler today, if that makes sense, but it's not that much higher probability that I'm getting there with extra confidence. I think this game as a whole, I could generally be down on, outside of maybe some shots on Colin Sexton and maybe Jordan Clarkson. But Sexton at 4K on DraftKings feels like still a good enough opportunity. We talked about stacking some of these big rosters. You could put them in 4 spots in your lineup: point guard, shooting guard, util. And we know that he could play over 30 minutes, and that was something that we weren't quite sure about really going into last game. So looked fine. Would like to see some more peripherals with 20 plus real points and a couple half and half on the peripherals, enough for me to throw in the blender. So I think that's the name that drops the most for me out of this game, is Colin Sexton on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I don't even know, how confident I get there, but on DraftKings I get there, right? What else we got, chat? How did Gordon ball out, but the Nuggets got beat? Chat, I got asked. I tweeted this somewhat in jest, but the Nuggets are the 1 seed, right? Is there any merit? It's okay to say no. Is there any merit into thinking their home record is inflating their perception? They're 26-4 at home. You get the altitude, you get a lot of punt spots where teams are just resting players, or if you catch them on a back-to-back. And then when you put them on the road, they're 12-14, way more, neutral. And that's, hey, when you get to the playoffs, you have home court advantage. Who cares, right?
Tyler Sappington super chatted $2. Do you think D. Graham gets the start tonight?
Man, I sure hope so. Even if he doesn't get the start, man, it's kind of easy to paint him into 25 plus minutes just based on how few bodies they got. But none of us truly know what Greg Popovich has in store. But I hope so, because I want to play some Devontae Graham. I promise you I do. But yeah, anyway, so I don't know. I'm just curious. We got some Nuggets fans in the chat. I don't know if Zay's out there, but what do you? Are we buying what the Nuggets are selling? I don't think they're a bad team. That's not what I'm trying to say. But are they? Do they have too much steam right now? Like, do you honestly believe the Nuggets are better than the Suns, and maybe even before the Durant? I don't know. It's okay to say yes or no. I'm genuinely curious to see what the public perception is on the Nuggets, because I do think Jokic is the best player in basketball, but those home road splits are real. They're real. All right, let's move on to the next game. Houston Rockets at the Miami Heat. Project 35 for the Rockets. Dyson Knicks, maybe. Jalen Green, Kenyon Martin, Jabari Smith, Alperen Şengün taking on Gabe Vincent, Tyler Hero, Caleb Martin, Jimmy G, buckets, and Bam Adebayo. We got 220 total. 12-point spread in favor of the home team, Miami Heat. So somebody asked, are we going right back to Şengün assist gun? I think the answer is yes. Şengün assist is at 5. Bro, this is like our little cheat code, y'all. I will say against Miami, I'm a little bit more scared. But if you guys are newer to the stream, you're here for prop betting. One of my favorite props for Houston, or really for Alperen Şengün, has been his assist props when, and only when, Jalen Green is in, because they work so well together. So first of all, let's take Kevin Porter Jr. off, and then let's take Jalen Green off. I'm gonna leave the Eric Gordon stuff around, but this season Şengün without Porter and Jalen Green has had a 19% assist rate. I mean, he don't have people to convert, and KBJ's not stealing. When Şengün's on the court with Jalen Green, that assist rate goes up 6% to 25%. So a guy that plays the type of minutes that Şengün plays, we've seen a lot of 6+ assist games. So Alperen Şengün, Assists. Let's go assists by game log with Jalen Green last 10 games. You think they're frauds, Buff? There's one game in the last 10 games for Alperen Sengun with Jalen Green where he has scored under 6 assists. And that was in 15 minutes of play against the Oklahoma City Thunder. More than likely, not going to play just 15 minutes tonight. So, for Sengun's assist line to be at 5 assists, I'm in it. On top of that, against the Miami Heat, the Heat allowed the fewest points in the paint, I believe, and the most three-point frequency. So, less shot attempts, I guess, for Sengun, more trying to create shots for teammates. So, we're going to add that to the tally real fast. Alperen Sengun over 5 assists. And just out of curiosity, what's the market at? Nuggets are very good, but teams like them in Utah get boosted because they play hot. Yup. I like to have to see how many times they were fully healthy on the road versus at home. And then at the same time, Jay, how many times opposing teams are fully healthy? Because oftentimes teams just punt the Utah or the Denver game. Let's go Sengun assist. So again, I disagree. Well, I guess 5.5 pushed it down, but I'm not seeing what the market's seeing. Like, I don't get it. Maybe I'll be wrong tonight, but I'm on the over. I'm on the over. So give me the over. I'm taking the over. I'll take the value at 5. What about No House? So No House also has live props that we can get into. I guess first of all, let's just see if Sengun is offered for assist. Sengun's not offered. Let's see. Let's go to that game. What's from Houston? Oh, there's Sengun. 4.5 assists. Good Lord. We're taking that. We're taking that. Yes, sir. Bob Moran. And then... Oh, they don't... there's no Sengun props. Or maybe I'm just typing it wrong. We can get his points. Just points right there. Rebounds. Okay. So I'll take his assist prop. Not going to have warm and fuzzies on most of these guys. But I will say maybe something that will correlate with this spot. We mentioned Miami allows the fewest points in the paint. They do also kind of funnel shot attempts to the outside. So let's go opponent scoring 3-point attempts per game. Miami is seeing a top 10 amount of 3-point attempts per game, the second most frequency. So 43.5% of opponent shots are 3 balls, second to only the Rockets. And looking at the Rockets team, I would imagine Jalen Green chucks the most threes, and now that Eric Gordon's gone. Yeah, 7.7 3-point attempts per game. So can we get like a 2.5 3-point prop for Jalen Green on PrizePicks? Josh Green, not Jalen. We cannot. If it does come up later, maybe we'll be able to attack that. Okay. For DFS though, I'm gonna sprinkle in some shares of Jimmy and Bam. Bam has been really, really good, and this is again one of those spots where it's gonna be easy for Bam to fall through the cracks because of the high lows. But I do think Bam is worth being in the conversation because of this matchup. But the 12-point spread has me less likely to be confident. So we're dealing with spreads on guys with true ceilings like Jason Tatum and now Bam Adebayo. But Adebayo has been so good and has actually led the team in usage when Hero, Butler, and Adebayo are on the court together. So something to keep in mind. Maybe we can get into his, I don't know, first half fantasy. He's over 2.5 on DK. Yeah, I wish I can get it on PrizePicks, but I do think it does funnel some extra 3-point attempts. What's the vig on over 2.5 for Jalen? 22.5 points over. There's a lot of Jalen Green. There's a lot of juice on the over 2.5. So that's gonna be 3.5 real quick. Like, it's not even worth betting at -170. It's all in the research, bruh. I guess with that said, would No House offer us Jalen Green 2.5 threes? Let's see. No, they're at 3.5. That was sharp from the get-go. So I don't really want to mess with that. What about Jalen Green, 22.5 points over? So it is still a tough matchup. I mean, he is averaging 22 points. They're not as short as some of these other trade-impacted teams, and the 12-point spread could push him off. So I probably don't want to invest in him beating a full game prop, but I would have taken some action on him to hit 3 threes. Maybe you can get 3+ threes or 2+ threes somewhere on like Bet Online or something. God, I need to speed up a little bit, huh? How many games do I got? Chat, you just let me ramble. 2, 3, 4, 5 games. Oh, we're gonna have to speed around it here. I apologize. Timberwolves at the Grizzlies. Project starting 5 for the T-Wolves. Mike Conley crossing over with Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Kyle. The Andersons got tickets to the game. How'd they get tickets? Rudy Gobert taking on John Morant, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Sharon Jackson Jr., Xavier Tillman. Other than Mike Conley and D-Russ, a pretty low impact game in terms of trades. Yeah, Luke Kennard did get added to the Grizzlies roster, but we should expect mostly the same results, I guess, pre-flop tonight for the Grizzlies. The T-Wolves definitely have a cosmetic change worth investigating. Ultimately, though, I don't know that we're going to run away with a lot of high confidence in loading up on the T-Wolves just because of the Grizzlies being such a good defense, you know what I mean? So this might be a spot, maybe they underwhelm here and we can just get behind them at continuing to be suppressed prices going forward. But there's a lot of instant narrative right off the rip, right? Mike Conley in the grindhouse, I'm sure that'll be a welcome reception, but again, not expecting much out of him. Kyle Anderson back in Memphis, so fun with that. But for the most part, I mean, Anthony Edwards at 10K, need that 50-60 plus on today's slate. Just not projecting him to crush at that rate. So I don't think there's any clicks for me on the T-Wolves here. The only thing that like maybe I would get behind is if is Conley for sure playing, right? Like if Conley didn't play, Jalen Noel would be an obvious. No, he's available to make his debut. So there's really nothing here for me. So if you guys have pushback, speak your piece. But I'm probably down on everything on T-Wolves here. Maybe some sprinkles of Ja Morant and like Supermass entry. But for the most part, like I don't really have a reason to be to this because it's efficiently priced versus the rest of the slate. Maybe some Ja, like, you know what I mean? Like, but even then, like, I'm not super stoked. So I'm just kind of not touching this game much, right? Grizzlies added Luke Kennard to match up with KD. Great. I ain't worried about the West. Cavs at the Pelicans. Project starting 5 for the Cavs. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen taking on CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, and Jonas Valanciunas. 223 total, 3-point spread in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavs bringing back Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell after both guys missed the last game. Individually, there's some room for potential on their price points. Garland has looked a little bit more proficient as of late. Not much has changed for the Cavs from 2 days ago. So again, for teams that are efficiently priced, it's easy to look elsewhere. I do think Garland, just paying off his price tag alone, looks intriguing to me. And then maybe we can grab into like a Garland assist prop or something like that. Let's see what his official assist rate. I want to say it's like 30%. So we'll put Garland, Donovan Mitchell on the court. And just as is, what can we get back? What's Triple J's blocks to bet at? I can't imagine that market gets more than 1.5 on a game to game, but if there's anybody to get 2.5 blocks as a line, it would be like him and Walker Kessler, huh? Garland has a 34% assist rate, so if we can get like single-digit assist prop for Darius Garland, maybe that's something I'd put in the blender. 8 assists. Let's isolate this split down to like just January, because I know it feels like Mitchell hasn't been as efficient. and Garland has had to pick up a little bit more work. So it's gone down to 30%, but 30% still attackable. So maybe I would have some interest in that. What can we get on No House's static line for Garland? Let's go Cleveland. No, oh, we don't get anything for Cleveland. It's just McCollum and Ingram. All right, that's fair because we didn't know if they were gonna play. All right, cool. So you could probably give me a little bit of Garland. I probably don't have Donovan Mitchell interest. Maybe I should because it is such a low price, but I don't know. What are you guys' what's y'all's pulse on Mitchell? It seems like this isn't like 20-30 shot attempt Mitchell. He's been way more middle of the road. His shot percentage hasn't been like blow you away, just enough to get you there. And like I said, I don't think an 8K 40 fantasy point game is going to mean much tonight. Maybe one or two stocking stuff for 40s can get you over while everyone else, the value hits and the ceiling guys hit. But I don't really have the warmer fuzzies on them, but I guess we can put them in the blender. And kind of the same on the Pelicans. Maybe Brandon Ingram still has some room for upside based on his price versus what the minutes we've realized he can start playing again are. And we've taken out maybe some of the depth guys. 36 minutes against Atlanta, 36 minutes against Dallas, 40 plus. There's still plenty of meat on that bone, I think. It is a tougher matchup. Cleveland, when healthy, them in Memphis, great defenses, and they slow the pace down. So that's going to be enough to maybe weigh him down, anchor him as a tier 3. But I do think there's meat on the bone at that price point. So maybe I just walk away with some Brandon Ingram shares here and not a ton else. There are some guys like individually priced in a vacuum that I wouldn't fault you for getting to. But I think Ingram's, in the grand scheme of this slate, the most likely guy to drop for me at a notable clip. I wouldn't say significant, but notable clip, right? Let's move forward. Thunder at the Blazers. Project 35 for the Thunder. SGA, Josh Giddey, Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams taking on Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, Nas Little, Jeremy Grant, Drew Eubanks. 240 total. 3-point spread in favor of the Portland Trailblazers, so pretty attackable total to go after. Damian Lillard without Josh Hart, without Yusuf Nurkic, likely looking at Simmons and Grant to be the guys that help him score all of the points. If you get past the Giannis, the Tatums, the Embiid, Lillard's right there, number 4 on the raw projections here, and I think he's in the tightest spread of all of them. So there's a case to slide him into the mix. We saw him, I feel like he just played OKC, but I guess I'm wrong. Played Golden State, 30 plus real points, 30 to 40 real points. It's not an astronomical expectation here. And also just offered a triple double in his last outing. And a guy like Josh Hart, Hart not representing a ton of real points per game, but he does get you some of those hustle stats. 8 plus rebounds is notable to maybe fall a little bit more in the ways of Jeremy Grant, of Anthony Simons, and of Damian Lillard. So I do like Lillard quite a bit here. Whenever you're going to imply the Blazers for over 120, I think you imply Lillard for 30 points. So what's the market, or what's the profit for Lillard? 34.5. That's a hefty one. So yeah, I like Lillard quite a bit. It starts to play if he starts. Because it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, I just don't want to trust anything. I understand wanting to be in some spots before others, but my goodness, is the Thunder just the most likely to troll you with a 11-man rotation. I don't get too much past SGA and Giddey, and when I do, it's only Jalen Williams. But if you believe in the minutes for Saric, if he does start, and if you think a chance at 25 to 32 minutes is there, go for it. But I can't co-sign it, and I likely don't get to it on a slate this vast, Mavs at the Kings. Kyrie Irving, Jaden Hardy, Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, Dwight Powell taking on De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, DeMontis Sabonis. 235 total. 4-point spread in favor of the home team, Sacramento Kings. Kyrie Irving, I was hesitant to get too much exposure to him in that first game because it was kind of a a weird spot. I thought they wouldn't be implied for much. 40 fantasy points, fine, run of the mill. This spot I like a lot more, significantly more, because the Kings' offensive rating, fantastic. Their pace is up, so it will be a lot of the positive check boxes that we like to attack. And I think because of that, the model likes Kyrie to be not too far behind the aforementioned Damian Lillard in terms of raw fantasy points. He is 6th, I believe, in raw fantasy points, and the guy in front of him directly is on the other side of the court. So positively correlating, if you can get some Sabonis Kyrie builds going, I don't mind it. Definitely like Kyrie quite a bit. We can look at that Dallas minute rotation, kind of see how they shook out in their first game with this new look offense. And then also keep in mind, this might be the last time we can play Kyrie with confidence until we really start seeing how him and Luka coexist on the court together. Let me go to popcorn machine. Graham, Okogie, Tatum, Embiid, Morant, Saric, Richards, studs and scrubs. Yep. Just kind of builds itself, you know. Am I missing a Dallas game? Oh, there it is. Clippers. Kyrie played 37 minutes in that game, so big minutes right off the rip. So I like Kyrie quite a bit to be involved in my player pool tonight. Past him, I don't have a lot of strong leans here. I think you can make cases at the price points for Hardaway, Jaden Hardy still, but I think Kyrie's the only guy I'm going to get to. I'm not going to force the issue on some of these other volatile clicks, you know. And on the King side, Sabonis, Fox, and then for me, probably getting out another team that doesn't really look that different from 2 days ago. So pricing is mostly efficient, right? All right, one game left on the docket. Hey, right after this, I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. You want to get in there? Go to RunDFS.com, click VIP memberships, try a week pass, 2 week pass. I would probably get into the All-Star break pass. That'll get you from this All-Star break to the baseball All-Star break in July. That also gets you $100 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. So it's essentially a $200 pass for, 4 or 5 months. I think that's a really good bang for your buck. And will also encompass some of the other sports we dabble in. But the main ones you're guaranteed to get coverage for is NBA and baseball. So go check that out. And then attach your account to Fantasy Cruncher. And if you have any questions about how to use Cruncher, hit me up in the Discord. Bucks at the Clippers, main event. Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez taking on Terrence Mann, Paul George, Norman Powell, Marcus Morris, Ivica Zubac. 227 total, 1 point spread in favor of the home team, LA Clippers. A couple of differences here. I think the only thing I was worried about this morning was going to be the status of Giannis. It is one of those LA back-to-back, so it's not like they had to do, travel and whatnot. So it's a little less fatigue on the body. But is there anything? We just got a straight up probable, huh? Okay. What about Middleton? Middleton, right knee injury, won't play against the Clippers. So we do lose Middleton. Maybe that beefens up minutes for Connaughton and on Allen, and maybe we can feel a little bit more confident about Drew Holiday. I don't know how much overlap they've had and how negatively it has impacted the others from a production standpoint. We'll look at last night. Middleton, very little overlap, it looks like, with Drew. There is some, though. Maybe very little is a wrong term. No, he closes out. Okay. Maybe we get to some Drew Holiday at a higher clip. Let's see, Milwaukee. Let's put them all on the court together, because there's certainly stretches where they do all thrive together. Maybe we get into like Drew Holiday second half overs if Middleton's not closing out, because remember there's still no Portis, right? All right, put them all on the court together. Let's see what Drew and Giannis switch from. Drew's at 20.5% usage at a 17% assist rate. Middleton's at 21% assist. I didn't realize it was that gosh dang high. 21.5% usage, and then Giannis is at 36 and 22. So that I expect that to have some significant impact. So we take Middleton off the court. and Drew goes to a 26% assist rate. Usage rates is stable. Giannis is still pretty strong at a 40% usage rate. Assist rate's meh. We gain a little bit on the Drew Holiday assists. So, PrizePicks, what do we got Drew's assist at? 6.5. Meh. Okay, it's viable. From a DFS perspective, Drew Holiday under 8K without Middleton there. I guess his point per minute was over 1. Makes him really clickable in a tight 1-point spread here. So I do like the thought of Drew Holiday, maybe even deeper minutes than usual, and certainly more stable production while on the court and having less overlap with Middleton. So him and Giannis look that much better. And then we might elongate on the floor of a guy like Pat Connaughton, kind of a stocking stuffer, right? What, 4th on the team in rebounds per game, and he's still gonna enjoy no Bobby Portis, still enjoying a starting lineup. So maybe we get to Connaughton a little bit more, but doesn't have to be a front end click because of what the slate's offering. So Drew and Giannis, yes, and then Paul George on the other side. No Kawhi Leonard here, ruled out. So him and Norman Powell probably have to pick up the pieces. Kind of surprised it's just a 1-point spread without Kawhi, for being honest. But a lot of usage to go Paul George's way. So let's put George on. Let's take Kawhi off. Thoughts on the Celtics game? I think there's a lot of blowout potential in that game. But if we can keep it close enough, I love Tatum's ceiling. And I think that the Hornets just have to play minutes no matter what the scoreboard is, other than maybe like a Hayward. You'd babysit him. Paul George, $1.25 fantasy point per minute on 30% usage. So Paul George would have to be somebody that, if this game we're going to live up to this 1-point spread, yeah, he's right behind Kyrie. So right there in the blender of guys that could lead this slate in fantasy points. I think it's less probable that he would be like top 1, but he's up there to be top 5 in fantasy points should this game be as competitive as the spread is suggesting it should be. And then Norman Powell, a lot less confidence there, but we have to at least appreciate that he has a range of outcome that, as a guard forward eligible, was at 5 spots on DraftKings, could offer usefulness, 20 plus real points in several of these games. I mean, and these are games with Kawhi and Paul George. So I guess we'd be looking at Norman Powell to be a guy that could pick up some slack here. So do we get Norman Powell props? We don't. I'd be looking at him. So give me Paul George, Norman Powell, Giannis, Drew, a little bit of Connaughton. And that's how I would attack that. You guys have any thoughts on this game or any game? Probably need to wrap it up here and get into the premium Discord, but I'll fire off and attack anything that you guys got for the short time, right? Giannis auntie got a poodle. Alphabet Soup should play. Yeah, he's probable. Appreciate you, Kobe. Hey, if you guys haven't already, man, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Would surely appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed and you want to hang out for these live streams, it's been every day. It's every day, bro. Got that DraftKings channel flow. So Super Bowl Sunday, I think there's only 2 games. So we should have a hefty slate tomorrow. So I know it's the freaking weekend, but we about to have us some fun. So let's stream tomorrow. Maybe they leave the Sixers and Nets game off the slate, and we get a 8-game slate. So I'm willing to be back here tomorrow if you guys are. I'd be even more willing if we got to 100 likes. I'm just saying. Paul George over 24.5 points. Any good? Yeah. Let me see what I got Paul George at. Oh, wait. Prop tab. Wrong George. I'm at almost 25 points. And we can see what the market says. Is singing. Paul George either dropping 30 or 10. No in between. No in between at all. Nope. So, Luca, I appreciate your YouTube help. 24.5 is kind of a coin flip everywhere, so I would lean the over. But I do think it's an efficient line, so it's not something I would force. All right, let's get out of here. I got to get in the premium Discord. If you guys want to hang out, go to rundfs.com. Shout out to our new partners at No House Advantage. Sign up. Take advantage of the overlay. Use code GUNDACKER when you do sign up, and you'll get your first deposit doubled up to $100. And you have to use the promo code for them to show me some love, but they'll show me some love. So let's do that. I'll be back tomorrow. Join me tomorrow on Saturday, right before the Super Bowl. We'll try to make some money before Super Bowl Sunday. I'll see the Vipers in the Discord. I appreciate you making part of my afternoon. Be part of your afternoon. Tell somebody you love them. I mean that. I love you. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.